Let me get comfortable, man. Let me sit back a little bit. Mic check, man. Morning Masters podcast host, man. Of course, I'm back. Another Thinking Out Loud. First and foremost, I want to thank all the supporters, all the listeners, anybody who shared the podcast last episode. Yeah, so I want to thank anybody who shared the podcast last episode. It just dropped. I normally wait a couple days before I do a Thinking Out Loud, but I had held the episode for a few days, just editing and getting things right, working and stuff like that. So it's been received very well. Even the clip of the snippets I put out been received very well. Shout out to Q Dog. Anybody know me know I don't really do rappers too heavy, man. Like, and it's not that I don't like it. It's just that rappers, which I'll get into later on in the episode, rappers sometimes they don't give you the best interview sometimes because they come up there so much with the image or with their image of what they think the interview should go like or what they want the interview to go like, and sometimes you don't get the best product in the end. So I try to stay away from rappers sometimes, but Q-Dog was somebody that I like his music a lot, so he don't have many interviews. So my whole thing was like, let me see if I can create something and just curate a line of questioning for him, just for people to get to know him with the music and outside of music, things he's been through, why, get some question answers as to why he stopped dropping music at a rapid pace, just some of the trials and tribulations he went through. So I thought that was dope. I ain't gonna lie, normally I don't grade myself on stuff like that, but in this one, I think I give myself like an 8.5, 8, maybe a B plus on that episode. I liked the episode and it was dope. His answer was crazy. I left some questions out, and I think sometimes when you interview somebody that you actually like their music and you're a fan of, by nature you forget to ask some questions because you so caught up in the answer. Like, oh damn, like I was really interested when he said, I've never been to jail. So when he met the song Trey, when he said something about Trey, I'm like, oh shit, I just put two and two together. Like that messed my questioning up because like I'm thinking like, damn, this is an artistic dude here, and that song got more meaning than I initially thought it meant. So shout out to Q Dog. But one of the things that I liked about the interview the most is that I saw a Q Dog interview some ways back, right? And I knew back then that he was nervous, of course. And I had a very, very similar experience on that same platform, right? But that platform to me is very pioneer-like when you think of entities like whether you got your Morning Masters, you got your sit downs with Slim. I'm not gonna sit here and name everybody platform, but just artistry. Whether you got your Conversations with Mo, you got Jordan Johnson, you got a Kid Joe who was on there. You got a lot of known figures in the community of Augusta, Georgia, that were all tied to this particular entity / show / company, 520RADIO. And when I saw his interview years back, I didn't watch the full interview because he was so younger at the time, so green at the time to media. I felt like maybe he didn't give the best answers he can give, right? So for me, I was like, I'm gonna try to make him comfortable. I'm gonna try to do this, try to do that. But mind you, this is me years on in. That was like 2018, 2017, 2019, something like that. It's 2022. So much happened since then with him and with me. You know what I'm saying? So I knew then I wanted to. First off, real quick, man. Shout out to Cash Cuffin, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. Don't sit and laugh at me, man. They only had a medium, man. They only had a medium, man. They bought the last episode, same shirt, same kind of shirt, not the same shirt, the same kind of shirt Q-Dog had on. It's Cash Cuffin. That's they lingo. You know what I'm saying? That's their entity. So shout out to them guys. Go support Q-Dog. Go download the mixtape Prey, Prey, on Apple Music or whatever you get your music from. Dope project. I wouldn't say it if it wasn't. I like start to finish. I listen to it about 4 or 5 times a week since it dropped. So shout out to Q-Dog for that, man. And go to Morning Masters. If you're on here now, mind you, go to the last episode. You see the Q-Dog episode. Real dope individual. Learned a lot about him, where he's from, how he came up, his family upbringing, all through music and just asking questions. So I thought that was dope. So shout out to Q-Dog, man. But what I really, really wanted to get into, man, for real is, I wanted to give an entity their flowers, right? So when I talk about 520RADIO and whether it's on here or whether it's outside, and I don't get the reaction that I feel like I should get when I bring up that word, them words, 520 radio, I'm baffled because of what that group, that entity, those two guys, that group of interviewers, of personalities, what they mean to me. And so I want to talk about it in depth a little bit here. So I'm gonna start with this, right? First off, shout out to David Beard. Okay, that's my guy, of course. Over the years, we've grown to become closer, and I would consider him a friend. Dope guy, dope individual. I worked with him, right, and he would invite me out to his basketball games and stuff like that. Mind you, I'm more than a master, but I really ain't nobody. I'm just trying to get my foot in, and I used where we worked. I used that as my legs, like that. That's a community of like 200 people. So I was like, well, I can get them to talk about me. It'll just disperse, right? It'll, go out. And, Dave was like, yo, come through, do this, that, third, that, third. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm shouting him out because the first time I ever saw 520 Radio was at Glen Hills alumni game. I can't remember which one it was, but one of the early stages ones, right? And I'm going there, I'm in there, and, I'm looking around. I'm like, yo, what is that? Like, everybody got these 520 shirts on, these white 520 shirts on. I see the DJ and stuff over there. But I see like 7 people that got cameras, microphones, they talking, all this. I'm like, it's like media coverage. I'm like, what the hell is going on? What they doing? Because mind you, this time I'm in media, technically speaking. I'm in media, right? So, I gotta get a large, man. This medium ain't gonna make it. But I'm in media, right? And I'm in media, right? And so I'm looking at what they're doing. I'm like, all right, dope, you know what I'm saying? And I'm in the back of my mind, like, hey, 520 Radio. I'm looking at the DJ, I'm looking at this and the interaction they got going on. Like, everybody gravitating towards them. They're laughing, having a good time. Like, it's almost like it's their event, but it's not. And I remember asking, like, who them? He's like, oh my God, da da da. They went to Glen Hills, boom, boom. All right, cool. So I go on Facebook and I see videos and stuff from the event, no lie, like the next day or maybe 2 days later. I don't know, right? And I thought the quick turnaround was like amazing to me. So that's one thing I got from them. Quick turnaround. So a lot of times when you see me post clips and you see me put out a little clip on a story, I put out that Q-Dog clip on my story that night about 11 p.m. I had interviewed Q-Dog at like 8, 9. So that quick turnaround, I got that from them. Like, go to these events, do your filming, and get it out. Get that quick turnaround. But anyway, I was like, damn, that's a quick turnaround. They edited, did that. All right, cool. Then the quality was like, damn, this is some good quality. Even the audio quality was like, damn, this is good quality. So already I'm inspired now. You know what I'm saying? I'm inspired by the things they're doing. I don't know who's who, but I'm inspired by them. I know now, shout out to Delvin, shout out to the brothers, you know what I'm saying? But I know them now, but at the time I didn't know them. And I'm like, damn, these people are putting in work. And I don't know who's in charge because they had a light skinned, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anybody. I don't know, this light skinned thick girl she was interviewing. I remember her. Then you had a light skinned guy who had a fade. I think his name Torrance, something like that. I remember him. I don't know him, but I know him now, but I didn't know him at the time. And then you had Q, who I heard of or knew of, didn't know, like none of them. And I'm gonna get into all this. All this is coming around full circle, I promise. Then you had Moya. You had a few people, you know what I'm saying? You had a few people that I felt like, I didn't know at the time, of course, but they were all personalities of their own, and they still are right now, right? So I'm like, damn, this is crazy, And so I say all that to say, over time, I'm putting in work, I'm doing my thing. And one thing I can say that I really, 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 really took from them or wanted to take from them or had them in mind doing it was Facebook. And now people like to say, oh, YouTube and this. The importance of Facebook is so it's something everybody can use. So it could be your grandma, your great aunt, your great aunt, your niece, your nephew, your brother, your mother. Like, everybody uses it, right? And I always thought that Facebook too was just a quick push out to the community. Like, I want to put it out to the community. If I'm on YouTube, I'm thinking about, monetizing. I'm thinking about making money and outside the box, outside of Augusta. And that's cool. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But the Facebook presence they had was amazing to me. I seen people sharing it. I'm like, yo, what the So I went to study their page, go to their page. I'm like, all right, let me go to their page. And I remember thinking, like, okay, well, damn, they got, 2,000 2,000 page likes or something like that. I don't know. I'm not really keeping up, but I just remember it was in the thousands. I was like, that's what I need. That's the answer right there. To my mind, at the time, like 2,000, followers. That mean that 2,000 people know you, and it was horrible math. But long story short, that's where I went hard. I said I'm gonna post mad content on my Facebook, whether it be audio clips, whether it be video clip, and post mad content on my Facebook because I need to get on that level, whatever they had, like the impact they had. I cared about impact, and I felt like they had it because of they would post jokes or videos or whatever, and then we get a lot of shares, like a lot of people engaged in it. And I'm like, that's what I want. I want to post content where people are engaged in whatever I'm posting. I want people to share it, people to like it, people to comment, have feedback. Like I seen that stuff in the stuff in the things they were posting and doing. So, I watched them and I kept doing my thing. And when you're doing your thing, you're not really focused on what somebody else is doing at the time. But subconsciously, I'd always just watched them and always thought that they had a good blueprint, a good structure. Didn't know who they were still. Not yet, right? I remember the first time I met them. All right, the first time I met them, they had this studio spot where Krispy Kreme is at on Gordon Highway. So it was this big studio, man, big studio. And they tapped me. They was like, yo, and mind you, at this time, they had a show called The Dinner Table. That's the main thing. They had a show called The Dinner Table. And that was like that was like they bread and butter. Like I feel like this, if you had anything going on, if you meant anything in the city, if you had any kind of motion, that was the validation right there. If you wasn't on the dinner table, the emotion wasn't really validated yet. In my mind, in my opinion, I don't want anybody to feel like they weren't on this or they ain't had anything going on, but they ran it in 2018 with a cool, fine. I'm just telling you, in my opinion, your emotion became validated when I'm about to say the Breakfast Club, when the dinner table called you up and said, yo, come through. All right. So I remember getting hit up. But before that, I remember seeing people I was interviewing getting hit up. They're going there. I'm like, damn. Like, yo, like, I see what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to get put on too. Cause like, as much as we do media and I like to interview, I do like to get interviewed. I do like to be on other people's platform. And I do like to have what I do to people done to me, like as far as illustrating things through questions and art and just that type of journalism. So finally, one day I get hit up and I'm not gonna lie, I'm psyched, like, I'm hyped, like okay, bet. I got my little sweater made, got my hat, got my boots and stuff on. I'm straight, I'm all color coordinated, doing the most, because I'm be on camera and stuff. Nothing in quality. The quality was amazing. Quality was amazing. And when I finally went there, this is why I say this is pioneer like, and they're just very motivational, very it was hard not to want to mimic them at this time, right? You in this big studio. I mean, it's big. It's like a warehouse of just studio space. And you got all this equipment, this camera here, that camera here, that camera here. And like it's like a movie scene, a movie set, because it's so much going on. You got 4 or 5 personalities at the table. You got the brothers, hey, you do this, do that, hey, do this, do that. You got camera guys in there, you know what I'm saying? You got this extras, just the homies kicking it, whatever. Like it's so much going on in there, but you don't know what camera to look at. So like it was a lot going on. I loved it. I thought that was like top of the line, top tier, like professionalism type of stuff, But I went in there, and this was the dopest thing about the dinner table that I felt like, right, to me. The dinner table was so dope because you didn't know, because they had a core at the time. They had a core personality at the time. So you have your Moyas, the other light skin girl. I don't know people's names, so I'm sorry if I'm not saying it. I don't know everybody's name. You have Torrin, you got Q, and you got Hank. You had people that were going to be at the table. And what he would do is he would say, hey, this is Moya's, it's going to be your interview. But we can all ask questions, but she's leading the interview. She's the A mic interviewer, right? And I ain't gonna lie, that actually helped me even interviewing wise, because whereas in one hand I'm thinking, oh, I'm more the master, I'm doing this, I'm that dude, I'm saying, I'm interviewing better than everybody, and then you get to this table where it's not it's not a controlled environment of just what I want. It's a multitude of personalities, and it's all different types of personalities. You got a sexual, you got a funny person, you got a very intellectual person, a politic person. So now it's like you got to get in where you fit in. It's like survival of the fittest of just interviewing, because you can easily you can stand out in that interview, or you can blend in the interview. And then stand out ain't really the way you want to be at, because you outcasted. Like, okay, you gonna answer a question, man? Like, and I had to really catch my foot in, and even working with them. So even as from a fan standpoint of seeing them and wanting to emulate some things they doing and build a culture for my own while looking up to them, I was also sometimes tapped on the shoulder, say, "Hey, man, can you come, film with us, or can you come interview for us on Sunday?" And that's also why I always extend my hand. Like, people like Delvin's the reason why I extend my hand, because they had no problem hitting me up and saying, it was no pride involved. It was no, damn, he might be coming up, might be better than us involved. It was always just a push. Everybody pushing to get better. Like, yo, I saw what you were doing. That was dope, man. I like the audio for that. That's dope. Yo, ask him kind of questions you ask old boy. Like, ask him that, It make you feel good, like you doing something for real. You know what I'm saying? So when I was getting tapped on the shoulder to come interview, it was always like, hell yeah, I come. I got you. I do it. Why not? But it also was me testing myself, because I'm around personalities for real. Are they doing it on a week in, week out basis like I'm doing it on their own entity? No. But the fact that they gel and they all got their own kind of following, it was like it was challenging to share the same microphones as them, put it like that. So real quick story though, and I never really told a story on camera because I'm real big on, like, if I don't like something, I feel like you should say it then and there, or don't say it at all, right? But this and anybody that's watching, don't take what I'm about to say as anything negative. I'm telling you how I felt in real time, and then this medium is not gonna work. But then also, I want to talk about where I feel like that took me, like 520 radio is so monumental to me. And I'm gonna tell you why, right? So when they did tap me to come on there, I remember like it was yesterday, bro. I go on there, I meet Mo from Mo Podcast, Conversation with Mo, which I went on to so funny how stuff work. Me meeting Mo at the 520 radio dinner table that we were on, because we were all on the same episode. Me, Mo, and Jordan Johnson, right? Let me tell you how big that is, right? So from that episode, I went on to start producing Mo's podcast about a month or two later, right? And from that, I made so many connections through just Mo and producing her podcast for the next year or some change, right? So shout out to Mo. Also from that, I had already heard of / knew Jordan Johnson, but we also spoke more that day, and I watched this interview, and I watched my mindset on politics changed that day to watch him navigate through the questions and talk through certain things. It was kind of like inspiring, like, damn, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Jordan Johnson, even though he supposed to come on the show and he never hit me back, but it's all good. And and then you got me, who I'm just doing whatever I'm doing, right? I ain't doing nothing much. But that show, like, to me, it means something because everybody doing something great and went on to do other great things. But this was the funny part. So, it's like, you're in a room, you sitting there, you chilling, whatever, cool. I'm nervous. Like I said, this time I'm not. Me now is way different than me that day, that time, because I still was fresh, and it's more the master stuff was fresh. Podcasting was fresh. People know what a podcast was half the time. So all this stuff was like super, super new to me, and I didn't know none of them. Nobody there I knew enough to just speak to and really sit down in conversation with. Tacoba was there, Mo was there. They was talking, like, me knowing them now, we could talk and we can chill and we can have a good time. But like at that time, I'm not knowing them, so I'm kind of standoffish. Like, yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, my name is Maine. Like it's that stage. Like, what's your favorite color? Type stuff. And one thing I can say about this, and this is why I always have. I know Mo probably feel like, man, you be beating me up. You always saying this. Listen, I don't beat nobody up, but when I see something in you, I'm always going to try to get that out of you 100%. And that day, I second guessed my whole existence with podcasting that day, because Mo and Cobra went up there and they killed it. Like, they interview was so entertaining. I mean, like, it was probably one of the best experiences I ever seen. I'm not even saying this to like to big them up. I'm just saying it because it's true. It was one of the best and most organic interviews / conversations that I had seen in person for that in that field for all with cameras stuff like that ever. Right? It was so good that when it was cause I went next, it was my turn. I'm like, shit, like this ain't I should have went first. I feel like I should have opened the show because at the time, I felt like that. And I'm gonna get into my thing, but I promise you, like, that's just my thought. So like, here I am, got to follow up this amazing interview, this amazing 16 minutes they just had. I mean, talking about whether it was sexual stuff, it was funny stuff, it's like imagine going to a comedian show and the person is a comedian talking about everything you want to hear, and it's funny and it's entertaining, and you're like, oh my God, don't ever get off the stage. Then you gotta get off the stage, and then next person come on is like, hey, this is a new up and coming guy, nobody knows. That's how I felt. And even though I always had this, I got confidence in myself. I always had this big confidence in myself. Even at the table, it felt odd. Like, I remember, like, no disrespect nobody. I promise you, no disrespect. But I remember even going harder after that interview because, I was like, I never wanted to feel that way. I never wanted anybody to feel that way. Like, when I got up there, I knew that the people that created this 520 with the brother, I knew they knew me and they've been following me because they in media and that's their eye, right? But their personalities didn't really know of me like that. So, they got a paper and he got a question on that, but I can tell it wasn't really his question. It was just some question they gave him. So I'm like, I'm still cool. What's your name, man? And like, damn, man, I'm still cool. And then the interview go on and I'm nervous because, like I said, it's a camera here, it's a camera there, it's a light here, light there. It's people in the background, people I don't know, mowing them, watching the interview. I'm like, look, I'm not gonna follow y'all up. Like, mine's is gonna be kind of boring. You know what I'm saying? So it was a lot going on with that particular interview on that day, and I always felt like I could have gave a better interview, or it could have been better had they known me, or had just do some kind of due diligence. But I say this to say that I also felt like, now me being older and me being through what I've been through and as far as media and knowing people now, I feel like at that time I wasn't really personable at the time. So yeah, I was doing a lot with the interviews and had my own thing going. I'm putting out these little clips and snippets that's doing good numbers and stuff like that. But it's like nobody knows you, man. Nobody know who you are. Like, you're not even in the camera. Nobody knows who you are. I wasn't doing Thinkin Out Loud at the time. I wasn't doing my own little video at the time. It was all just strictly the guests. It was never about me at all. But then I'm coming on a show about me, and I have no work out there that can tell you about me. So I took from that, like, I have to be more personable. I have to get myself out there more, even though I'm doing something for the community. And my way of doing it is through their talents and what they can offer and what they do. I still have to some way, somehow let people know who I am in the process, right? And so I started to do that and started to build relationships. When I would produce the Mo podcast, Conversation Mo podcast, I've seen people come through there, and I'm always quiet to myself, so it's like a mystery. And then people start to want to, pick at you and, pick you apart. But you become personable at that time. You start to build more of a you. So even though I'm talking about the entity of 520 and how influential they were to me, it was even critical to me coming on the show because it had me change things. I even when I even had like a chip on my shoulder, like, I'm never gonna interview somebody, and they feel like, I don't know who they are, which was weird because nobody did nothing wrong to me in there, you know what I'm saying? But it helped me interview to go forward because I didn't want to feel like, no, I didn't know the person I was interviewing. But you fast forward, I've had interviews with people I barely knew, and I had to kind of gather myself to get to know them. So whereas for a while I would fault them and be like, man, they ain't really know me like that, da da da. I get it. I get it now. Like, and sometimes I always say, like, you never know how something going when you're not wearing them shoes. Sometimes you gotta wear them shoes to do that. And these are personalities that got other things going on, real stuff going on, and they come here, and conglomerate for once a week, and stuff it gotta go. Like, this is a business, you know what I'm saying? This is business here, and I say to say, man, the dinner table was very. It was a stamp, man. The dinner table was a stamp, and that's kind of how I cater more to masters, like how I want more to masters to be like the stamp. I want it to be like, if you on there, you got something going on. Like, and not saying you gotta be popular, you just got something going on, something good going on too. Like, if you want more than masters, like it means something to Augusta. It means something to be on more than masters. And I feel like that's how the dinner table was. They didn't just have anybody on there. You kind of had to be somebody, and they stamped your motion. So all this, I got motion, I got this going on. You went on a dinner table, I don't want to hear it. That's just me personally though. But all in all, man, what I can say is, both of them brothers, man, owners of 520 Radio, they were very instrumental in everything I had going on. When I had fine acts with Carlton and we didn't have equipment to do certain things, let's borrow equipment, and that's why I'm so, pardon me, that's why I'm so giving, man. Like, I like to be giving because people like that, people that were always giving to me, like, they let us hold equipment, let us do this. I'm gonna tell you right now, and I don't want to end it, but I want to kind of say this piece here, like, so when you look up to somebody, right, and they're influential to you and whatever they're doing, and 520 Radio was like super instrumental into like my psyche of how I wanted to attack my audience with Augusta. So I knew I wanted to get the Facebook page with 2,000 followers, right? I got 3 now, but my goal was just 1.5. If I could just have what they have, cool. I knew I wanted the impact they had. I wanted people to be wearing my shirts. I wanted people to talk about me when I'm not there. Talk about more than massive when I'm not around. I wanted to have a super impact like they had. I remember hearing about them in certain places, in certain conversations where I'd be talking to somebody about something like, yeah, because Delvin, damn, like, yeah, what they gotta do with what's going on? But because of what they doing, they're spoken about, right? I wanted that. I want people to talk media and interviews, and how to promote your business or how to promote a event you got going on. I want people to say, well, Maine from One of the Masters. I want that. So that was something I wanted. So it was also instrumental and influential in that way as well. Quality, like I said, this quality is like amazing to me, of course, but like when that first interview I had with them, and I had that interview and I could finally see myself on how I would look like in the movie, that was my first high quality anything of seeing myself on anything high quality. It was that, besides of course your iPhone stuff, but like to be a big production type of thing, it was dumb. And that's when I knew. I said, yo, I'm never doing video ever if it can't look like this or better. And I stuck to that. So I never did video until Slim started learning how to do the video stuff, and he had the lens and all that stuff, and it looked movie like. I would not do no video if it wasn't gonna look like that, like myself. No, I wasn't doing it. So they were instrumental in that as well. And I'm just going down. I'm giving them a flower. I'm going down the list. You know what I'm saying? Being given. You know what I'm saying? Like when people say, "Yo, I want to do a podcast. I want to do this," and they want to link up, I link up automatically. I think of them in mind because they never shunned me. I never shunned anybody that would do media, but they always wanted to join forces and say, "Yo, this is what we got going on. You should be a part of this, man. This is what we got going on. Why don't you come down and interview Kid Joe?" My first interview with Kid Joe was through 520 Radio. And to me, Kid Joe at the time, I'm like, yo, this is a big DJ. This is Kid Joe. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I'm going to be Kid Joe. I'm telling people, like, I'm going to be Kid Joe. It's through 520 Radio. They set that up for me. Not for me, but they set that up to make it, They had, even in the interview setting style, like, you interviewing with pretty women and just women that are like people will love and like drool over on social media in the city. And you next to them now, and they're like, "Oh, what's up? How you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, this you the person that did that, or whatever." And you around that, and these are things that 520 brought out when they brought you out. Like you got to really feel like you was a part of something, And that's what the dinner table was to me. Is like you felt like you was a part of a community of just like celebrities here. not the club, not a basketball game, but like real people that are doing real stuff, that's really grinding, really got something going on, like really got real motion, not just on a treadmill, like they really on a bicycle, on a car, riding around, they have motion for real, you know. So they was very influential in that. But the best, and I'm gonna end it here soon. The best thing to me that ever happened when it comes to 520 radio, and I talk about stuff being full circle, it's a few things, right? So I'm gonna lead up to the best thing, but one thing was, right, when they started to hit me up for stuff here and there, I felt accomplished, but I also felt like I was doing something right, because for so long, everything that I knew, everything that I tried to do, I was looking at what they were doing, or looking at how they went about it, or looking at they kind of blueprint of this and that and the third. And I'm like, all right, cool, I need to go ahead and try to do something like this. I didn't copy them, but if they was at an event and they had a quick turnaround putting content out, I'm gonna try to do the same thing. They was at an event and they kind of just, went live or something. I'm like, all right, maybe I need to post myself at the event. You know what I'm saying? I might not do the same thing they were doing, but I would do something in the same ballpark, because they marketing ideas was really good. But having some of their guests on the podcast, like when I see people like Q, who is a real popular person and real instrumental piece to their media puzzle, when he's sharing stuff that I post, or when I see him out, he's like, "Yo, that podcast was dope." That mean a lot. It's like, damn, like these are people that they their own personality. They got their own thing going. Like they've been doing it for a long time, and here they are telling me my stuff is good. When you have your Hanks, saying, "Yo, man, I love your stuff," just randomly, not just because I posted something, but randomly a random message like, "Yo, I love your stuff. You keep doing what you're doing." Da da da. I'm like, damn, he did have like 4 or 5 good interviews that I liked. This is somebody telling me he like my stuff, having some of the people on the podcast, whether it be Moya talking about this, that, and the third. Like I had Moya on twice. Good conversationalist, good personality, dope person, just amazing artistry when it comes to questioning and answering questions, being funny, comedic timing, things of that nature. Like she's amazing at that. Had the owner, had Delvin on the podcast. Like, these are things that I liked. That I felt like, yo, I'm doing something now. It made me feel great, because there was a time that I looked at everything that a lot of people were doing, and I'm like, how they do that, how I do that. So now when I got the ball rolling a little bit and they able to be like, yo, that's dope. Let me get on here. Let me do this. It's amazing. But the main thing, one thing that really, really, I felt that I was like, yo, this is everything, right? One day, Delvin hit me up. He was like, "Yo, man, I want you to record an episode at the dinner table. I want you to come do the audio for us, because our audio been messed up, blah blah blah." And like that, just like, I'm not gonna lie, that was everything to me, man. Like an entity that you looked up to and look up to still, but you look up to, that you kind of saw what they were doing, got inspired, and now you able to help them do something. It was like, damn, like that just felt good to me. Like even being in the room with them, I remember it was all of us, Moy, it was Torrin, it was Hank, both brothers, you know what I'm saying? And it was a good time, And I remember just seeing that, like, it's a lot that go into that, man. I promise you. Like, they don't get the credit they deserve, and that was, if they bring that back, it'd be dope. But that was like survival of the fittest for interviewing. Like you wasn't really good if you couldn't make them interviews pop or have a good question in there. You know what I'm saying? Like it was dope. Man. It was like gladiator school just for interviewers. You know what I'm saying? Because there's so many personalities. Everybody got something funny or something they got going on, and you got to kind of, like I said, either blend in or stand out. And stand out ain't always the best. So I definitely feel like 520 Radio means a lot to the city, means a lot to me, more than Masters, of course. And it's not the only entity, but this was one I looked at from the very, very beginning when I first started, and when I started to make headway and do things, and we were able to come come together and do stuff and build a rapport relationship. it meant a lot to me, man. And like, I don't say this stuff to say it, just to play around. Like, I really feel like, 520 Radio are like pioneer like in the media game. I think they changed media in Augusta because when you think about the quality, when you think about the quality of guests, quality of the content, questioning, the authenticity of the conversations, you think about all that stuff, the co-hosts they had on, they questioners, they media representatives, places they've been, places they took it. Yeah, man, like, it's kind of unmatched, really, when you think about it. So definitely, I give you your flowers, man. So shout out to 520 Radio, man. Like I said, I didn't mean had to think out loud be too long, but and I can go on and on. Honestly, it's more I want to say, but I ain't gonna get into that. But the last thing I want to say is, the dopest thing that you see in interviews, like when it comes to 520 Radio, is that you get to see the imperfections of these whether you say local celebrities, whatever, but people that got a lot of emotion, right? I've been in interviews where somebody froze up, they froze up and was like, yo, let's start the interview over. Start over. It's 9 minutes in, can we start over? This is a person that's big time, you know what I'm saying? Like, start over. All right, run it back. Or even, Delvin was funny because, like, even as nice as he is, as cool as he is, like, that's how, even, like, media is a big thing. You can't just put out anything, right? So, I remember us, it's a radio show. It's a radio show, mind you. All this is a radio show. I'm saying dinner table to kind of talk about that alone, but they had a whole radio show. It's an internet radio show, and they had a whole lineup. And so at the music, we coming in. So I remember one time we were doing stuff, we talking, and he's like, hey, hold on. Run it back. Hey, y'all too flat, man. Hey, get some energy. Come on. Start over. I'm like, damn. But I get it. And it builds character. It builds you as a media personality. And like I said, man, much respect to both of them guys, man. Shout out to the brothers, man. Shout out to 520 Radio and all parties involved. I'm tired. Shout out to y'all, man. Yeah, man. Definitely need to bring the dinner table back. I see a lot of media out here now. We got a lot of dope media out here now. So there's always room for 520 Radio because, like I said, they pioneers, man. They stamped. And yeah, man. Shout out to them guys, man. All right. Another thing I'll I got another one coming. Y'all could email me or YouTube message me or message me on Instagram, whatever. Any questions y'all got, I'm gonna put this out ASAP. I'm gonna give y'all till Sunday. So if you don't send a question by Sunday by 2 p.m., they ain't gonna answer. I don't care who you are. Send a question. I'm gonna answer it, and that's gonna be what the next Thinkin' Loud is about. It's gonna be me answering no questions unless something comes up where I have another topic to talk about. So, another Thinkin' Out Loud. Cash Cuffin, go support the brand. Go listen to the last episode with the Q-Dog 706 episode. Tell me anything about the podcast. I will put 2 links to 520 Radio interviews in here. I'm gonna put the Q-Dog link to the interview, and I'll put my interview in here too, so you can see what I'm talking about. I ain't going in depth to my interview because I just didn't, but yeah, 520 Radio, man.